Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you all, whether you're here now or watching later. Today, we're going to talk about energy, and we're going to learn some basic principles of Reiki as well. So our goal is to explore and navigate how to create and interact with the powerful energy that is within us and around us. Okay, and I'm admitting and I'm talking and I'm admitting. Okay, so another thing is, and I just mentioned this before, but for those of you who were not yet on, I'm going to keep you muted for now. If you notice that there is sound in the background, it might be you. Just go ahead and mute again. But I like to open it up for discussion. I really like this to be a conversation as well. So please contribute in that way too. And if you do it by chat, that's great. So my name is Chantel, and we're going to be doing a class. The class, it is called Utilizing Energy, Intuition, and Visualization in Self-Care. So I am going to be reading from this book, Intuitive Reiki. It's my book. It's the manual I use for my Intuitive Reiki class. And at one point, I'm going to bring up some pages too, because I want you to be able to see the drawings of 3 positions we're going to learn today. They're called the 3 pillars of Reiki. And also, if you haven't already done so, grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, because we're going to do a little writing today too. Okay, so first, just a note about self-care. Self-care for me is a moving, kind of alive, evolving journey towards greater listening to myself. So self-care is not something I do. It's not a technique. It's not a method. It is listening to myself. So self-care on the most deepest cellular level is me going within and honoring to what I hear. That's what I believe self-care is. So it doesn't have to be this huge gesture, right? In fact, I have found the most profound shifts occur with very, very subtle methods, very little that I do, right? And then self can get complicated sometimes, right? Because one's perception of self can get distorted, right? Having lived as long as each of us have in this physical form, we have data that is stored throughout our bodies, right? Our cells are communicating, they're replicating that very distortion that may be present in our minds. And the beauty that may be present in our minds, but that distortion too, right? So our cells are communicating that, replicating that. So much of this is learned behavior. It's maybe someone else's words, and a lot of very unique, often wordless, energetic expressions and exchanges that we've had with others, right? These nameless interactions we've experienced have become stored memories in the brain and in the body, and they can leave sometimes lasting imprints on our emotional bodies, our energetic bodies, right? So sometimes it could just be like, God, I'm in a really funky mood today. I just feel off, right? There's something within or around me that is just kind of mucking up that pure energetic state. In a Reiki class that I teach, we work a lot with the auric layers, because a lot of energetic muck can get stuck there, right? So we want to clear that energetic or that psychic muck away. Okay. Okay. So how can I tap in to the part of me that is like pure soul, pure knowing, without distortion, without noise? I ask myself, is that elixir within? I know it is. The remedy is within my own consciousness, my energy, my intuition, my ability to be with that which is within and without provides the sustenance for a very healthy and healthful unfoldment of self. And that listening to that deep, deep little part of me that knows everything, this is a key to the unfoldment. And it holds infinite possibilities inherent in the listening itself. So when I listen, there is no end to what I might hear. I ask myself, what is within me, or I ask myself, what within me is crying out to be heard, right? And that could even be something we ask ourselves. What is it you need today? Could we get really, really quiet with ourselves and ask, what is it you need? Right? And this listening too is part of the story. All right. So we're going to begin by reading from a chapter of this book. The chapter, welcome. Great. This chapter is on energy. It's pages 11 and 12 if you have this book. The book is Intuitive Reiki, an Integrative Approach. So this chapter is Ki, life force energy. Ki is Ki. It's just the Japanese word for energy. So this is what is energy and understanding Ki. And then after I read this, we're going to think about it a little bit. We're going to write about it a little bit. And then I'd love us to share. Okay. So when you hear the word energy, what do you think of? To understand it, we look at how it has been defined and its myriad usages. Energy is required for us to be able to perform or accomplish something. In this way, energy is something that must be conserved, cultivated, and or harnessed. We might think of energy as having a quality attached to it, as in positive or negative energy. Or perhaps your mind is unable to deduce its exact meaning, but it is something you feel. We hear things like, the energy between them was palpable. She has good energy. I don't have the energy to do that. Or energy is neither created nor destroyed. One of my personal favorite sayings that comes from the principle of conservation of energy and referred to as the first law of thermodynamics. I belong to a school of thought that believes energy exists and I can feel it around and within me. I know there are different types of energy that have been defined in physics and other studies, mechanical energy, kinetic energy, nuclear energy, etc. These terms have long since eluded me because my mind is more adept at sensing rather than organizing ideas into concrete terms. How do you experience energy beyond the word? Pause and consider where the knowledge exists in your body. From this place of sensing and knowing, allow it to penetrate your very being. Understanding Ki. For our purposes, we are looking at energy as we perceive it. Ki is the Japanese word for energy, Ki. Chi in Chinese, Chi. He in Korean, Gi, or he in Vietnamese, Khi. The Japanese have so many characters for energy that they are able to differentiate between strength, power, effort, and vitality simply by adding or deleting lines and or characters. The energy we are referring to in Reiki is Ki, Reiki, Ki, and it is defined as life force energy. As Reiki practitioners, we are working with what is referred to as electromagnetic energy, which is what flows through all beings. It is within and around each of us, such as positive and negative, yin and yang, and attraction and repulsion. We work with the energy to honor where someone is and to notice where there are imbalances. In so doing, we are able to bring the body from a place of imbalance into one of homeostasis, which homeostasis, by the way, not on the page, but homeostasis is moving in and out of balance. Homeostasis is not static. It is actually, it rests between both poles. Reiki can activate, smooth, calm, invigorate, and strengthen areas that are out of balance. As practitioners, we hold space for this life force energy to pour through us and out of our hands before being transmitted to the client. Remember, it is Reiki doing the work, not us. Take a moment now to write about your perception of energy. What does energy mean to you? You could write, draw, list, explore all the ways energy impacts your life and fuels the universe. So what I'd love to do now is just, we'll take 1 minute or two to really think about, what do you think energy is for you? It could be, what have you heard? You could just write it all down. What have I heard energy is? But also, I encourage you, and this is, if you've been in my classes before, or you've heard me talk about words, I like to hold a word, right? To really hold it and not just accept what I've learned about that word, but actually ask myself, or if you've done work with asking higher self, what does this mean? What does energy mean to me? And you get really, 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 really quiet. What is energy? And allow anything that comes through to be part of what you place upon a page, right? So in that moment, blue came to mind. I saw blue. I write down blue. You don't have to make sense of it. Whatever comes to mind is a piece to the puzzle of what energy means to you. And that is very, very important, because this is not something necessarily that can be learned. It's something that is already within each of us. So I'm going to go ahead and be quiet for a moment and just take a sec to close your eyes, tap in, ask yourself, what is energy, and begin to write. And then we'll check in with each other. Okay, and go ahead and wrap that up. Take another 20, 30 seconds to wrap it up. Okay, now I want to know what you discovered. What do you find? What did you find? Maybe something you knew, some new insight. And go ahead and you could just unmute, or you could type in the chat as you prefer.
I'll go.
Yes, Sue.
I said, when I feel most calm, peaceful, and content. And then I wrote further, content with what is. And the word I got was vitality and joyfully present.
So good. Thank you. One of our exercises is going to speak to what you just spoke of today. Really nice. Anybody else? What does energy mean to you? What did you discover in this moment? What do you know about energy? Well, we have one in the chat. For me, It came as energy is desire and space, and we can create anything in this. Very nice. Yes, space. Very nice. And then somebody else writes, energy is love, breath, flow, life, movement, wind, fire, water, earth, mystery. Beautiful. Yes, yes, yes. All of it, right? Every word that is uttered right now is right, right? And then Scott says vibration, nature, it's a feeling, emotion, exchange, sounds, powerful, everything. It's everything. Judy.
Hi, for me, inside, it's most of the time like a nice spring breeze that is diffuse and is through my whole being. But then sometimes my energy ramps up and it's more like a small tornado coming from within, or like a sprite or a dirt devil, a small tornado.
Beautiful. Really beautiful. I'm noticing in the words that are spoken and those that were shared, right? It's experiential. There's something about it that is very kinetic, experiential. And then also that there are these elements that are coming in outside and within that are taking hold or play a part. Yeah, very, really, really good. Anybody else? Yeah, good, good. Yes, I think of it like, especially with what everybody just said and wrote, this is something that can be gathered. It's something that could be harvested. It's something that could be utilized, right? The more we're in contact, even just taking this moment to write about energy, to sense, to ask, what is energy? To take that second in time to tap into one's own energy or thoughts or feelings or expressions around energy is very palpable, very important, and can shift one's energy too. Some people say energy, it doesn't exist, it can't be proven. And yet for me, energy on the most fundamental level is purely, entirely scientific, at least for, we call it scientific. It just also happens to be mysterious. Somebody said mystery. It happens to be mysterious as well as scientific. But we're composed of trillions, right? Like approximately between 20 and 40, right? Like 30 trillion cells make up this human form. So, cells are gathering or accumulating environmental molecules that make up digestible matter, like food and sunlight, right? That's coming in. And these things on the outside, the food, the sunlight, in this example, are like transporters of energy. But it's considered matter too, just like us. So just like us, we're cells, we're matter, and we're also energy, just like everything around us. This is, or we think of Einstein, right? E equals mc squared. That's just a representation that acknowledges that mass, m, right, is equal to, or energy rather, is equal to mass plus some incredible squared force of speed of light, right? And that can be converted into energy. Yeah, in a more basic way of thinking about this, you just think about somebody, right? You're like, gosh, I've been really thinking about my sister. And then she calls. It's like these things that happen. It's like, this is energy. And this is the power of the transportation of energy through what we perceive as time and space, right? What we perceive as this reality. There's also something else at work here. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit more specifically about Reiki now. It's a form of energy work. I mentioned it in the description for this class. It's a named practice. Somebody just happened to say Reiki, right? That this is energy work. But there are a plethora, there are myriad different ways that we can call in energy, and we don't have to call it anything actually. So I'm just going to read about a page and a half about energy, and then intuition, and then we're going to move into exercises. All right, so the page is 9 and 10. So for those of you who don't know what Reiki is, this is Reiki explained. What is Reiki? Reiki is a word composed of two Japanese words, rei, R-E-I, and ki, K-I. Rei is translated as spirit or higher power, and ki as vital energy or life force energy. The two words together mean spiritual life force energy from a higher source. It is important to note that life force energy from the divine is pure and untainted by the everyday human experience. This vital energy courses through us all. It is believed that Reiki was created, at least in part, from a Buddhist perspective, which connotes that we have a capacity for perfect harmony and transcendent life force energy within us. Welcome. Reiki is a non-invasive system of natural healing. Its application is hands-on or transmitted at a distance. It was discovered and taught by Usui, a Buddhist monk, scholar, and humble servant of the way in Japan in the early 1920s. Reiki existed before that. He's just the first person to kind of lay it down, pen to page, and teach it. The benefits of Reiki in some conditions it improves are emotional trauma, chronic and acute pain relief, reduction of stress and anxiety, past and present conflicts, fears, phobias, and addictions, improved sleep, improved quality of life for cancer patients. How does it work? I am asked this question often, especially with sessions provided at a distance. For those who are unfamiliar with the concept of sending energy, it is just like when you think of someone and they call. In this example, we are acknowledging that a mere thought about another person can send that thought through what we perceive as time and space, and it can literally reach another person. While Reiki energy knows where to go, if we have not met a client, we ask some simple questions. And then I talk about what we do. We ask where they are, where do they live now? And in this way, we are aligning with them and telling our brains, go there, to a very specific person born on a very specific date in a very specific place. In short, a Reiki practitioner will get into a meditative state to allow the Reiki energy to flow through. Practitioners will use hands-on or at a distance techniques to help calm physical, emotional, and/or psychological trauma or stress in themselves or others. Okay, so that's the basis of Reiki. For me, I'm an intuitive Reiki practitioner, right? So this is what I want to introduce to the conversation right now, because our 3 exercises today are going to touch on your intuition and you tapping into listening to self. So intuitive Reiki, if Reiki is life force energy, if we take that and utilize our intuitive nature and cultivate and honor it, our sessions can become very, very powerful, right? So when I open myself up to source or spirit, I call it spirit, especially in the long distance Reiki sessions or readings, my intention is to use the Reiki energy to help support and balance the physical body, as well as the electromagnetic field and subtle energy fields in and around the body. But so much more comes through, right? So Reiki is like the tool applied. It's the method I'm employing. But as I'm doing that thing, I hear and see and feel other messages come through, right? So by doing that one thing, and you might have experienced this in other ways of life, other walks of life, right? Other things that we're doing. right? Other things come through. The more we focus on one thing, this other world is able to pour through. So, you know, I've been doing this for a number of years. So as energy is moving through, things tend to not get stuck. But during the session, my body might feel pain if at a certain level of my body. If there is pain in that client's body, I will feel it in my body. I might see things or hear things, as I mentioned, but at the end of the session, it all goes away, right? So whatever that energetic debris is from a session, my body has its own intelligence that it employs. Another interesting thing that can happen is that which we know. So for me, I have a lot of exercises, wellness techniques, self-care tools. So much of my life is about that during the session or after the session when we're speaking, a lot of that will come through as ideas to help move the client through something they might be experiencing. So with students, and I ask you today to consider it too, is what is it that you know that you can offer somebody else, but also to really cultivate that part of yourself that is beyond what we think we know, and encourage that to be cultivated, and to honor those gifts that are inherent within, because they too will come into focus, right? So before we go into the 3 pillars of Reiki and the 3 exercises, I just want to say too, and this is something I really, really believe, you know, I can teach you self-care tools all day. I have so many, but what will really, really resonate is what you create. So as we move through everything we're about to move through today, I encourage you to get into your body and to adjust and sense and change what it is I'm saying into what your body needs. And I use this example often when I teach. You know, I love Louise Hay. I love her affirmations. I love them. I could read all about them. It makes me inspired. I could listen to her. I could watch her. But when it comes down to my healing process, I can't use her affirmation. I have to create my own. It has to be my wording in order to tap into the deepest part of myself. If I'm going to be speaking to my cells, I got to be speaking my language, right? So I really encourage you today, but beyond this class too, when we're learning things, that we take it in, but then we also let it go. We also, you know, it's a key part of many a practice that we absorb all the techniques we can, and then when it comes down to it, when we're doing the action, we have to let the techniques go. Okay, are there any questions or insights that anybody has thus far before we move into the 3 pillars of Reiki? Okay. Yeah, and somebody says, I love Louise Hay's work too. Yeah, I mean, amazing. There's another woman as well. I'll put it in the group. Her name is not coming to mind. She's on my bookshelf. In our private group, I'll put a little thing about someone else that I find very captivating as well that works with similar principles. Okay, very good. Yay, wonderful. And welcome, Roma. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to share my screen because I want to show you these 3 pillars of Reiki. The 3 pillars of Reiki are Gassho, which is hands in prayer, Reiji-Ho, which is that same prayer position at the level of my 3rd eye, and then Chiryo, which means treatment, or in my practice, I would say to give a session or to simply give. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And I'm going to pull up that page in the book as well. Okay. Share screen. All right, here we are. The 3 pillars of Reiki. So the 3 pillars of Reiki are Gassho, Reiji-Ho, and Chiryo. They're designed to help you focus your attention, connect to your true essence, and connect to the loving energy that is Reiki. And somebody said it earlier too, love. In many ways, again, Reiki is a named practice. When it comes down to it, when it comes down to energy that I transmit, that I have within myself, it is just love. I remember a friend of mine said when they were visiting their grandmother in hospital that they put their hands on her hand and their hands became very hot. And the only thing he could express to me or explain, I was studying Reiki at the time, this is many years ago. He said, I just loved her so much. I just didn't want, I wanted her to be okay. And in that moment of filling himself up with his love for her, his hands grew so hot and his hands happened to be on her hand and it was transmitting that love to her. So it's in all of us. There are classes we could take, there are books we could read, but we don't need to take the classes. We don't even need to read the books. It is within us. These are just little nudges to help us along, to help us remember, really. We just have to remember that we're energy, right? It's like, I've forgotten. I just have to remember. So Gassho means hands coming together. We could try it now if you'd like. This is also prayer position to many people, or if you do mudra therapy, it's Anjali. So it's Gassho to Reiki. And that's it there. That's what she's doing. We bring our hands into prayer position. A lot of times, I mean, you could be doing this sitting, you could be doing standing, you could be doing it lying down and put pillows under your elbows. I want to also suggest, oftentimes people will ask me when I'm teaching reflexology and Reiki, how long should I do it for? If I'm pressing on that point, how long should I do it for? If I'm doing Gassho, how long should I stay there in meditation? Again, I'll write 1 minute, I'll write 5 minutes, I'll write 2 minutes because something in me says, yeah, that's about the right amount of time. But that's me. So again, I really ask you when you're in a position, it might just be a moment. It might have just been like, you have like sometimes when I'm feeling really grateful or at the end of a class, I just bring my hands into prayer and say, oh, thank you. And it's just a moment. Right. And that's exactly what the moment called for. So to continue to ask yourself, how long am I supposed to be in this position? I'll give you a time, but also let it go as well. Okay, Reiji-Ho. Reiji-Ho is just bringing it up to your third eye. The technique is a method for inviting power of Reiki to flow through you, the indication of Reiki power. Ho means methods. And by the way, those of you who are at True North right now who have joined us today, this book is at True North for you. It's not to buy there, but just I have it behind the desk. Just ask the desk person, hey, could I look at Chantel's book? She said I could, and grab it and thumb through it and then just put it back at the end. So that's there for you if you want to look at it as well. So that's Reiji-Ho, right? This also, I think of this as like an invitation, right? It's like I'm saying here in Gassho, I'm saying, okay, I'm grounded, I'm here, I'm present. When I go into Reiji-Ho, it's like an invitation of, please, may I be present with this person today for the greatest good of all, for their greatest good, my greatest good, and for the greatest good of all. And then I open up into what we call Chiryo. Chiryo means treatment. I use the word session, or like I said, just giving, and it's hands-on or just hovering above, or a huge part of my practice is at a distance, right? I have clients in Minnesota and New York and random places, and we do it at a distance. So you actually don't even need to be in the same physical space. So in this way, Reiki or any kind of energy work is very impactful, whether we're with the person or not, okay? And I'll just mention this because it's the end of the page, how we can provide Reiki for our purposes today. It's going to be for self-care. It's hands-on ourself. It's listening to our body. What is it that needs attention? And I'm going to put hands-on. Or what is it that needs attention? And I'm going to send my mind's eye there. I don't even have to use my palms. If you're a practitioner, I invite you to practice too with standing, kneeling, or sitting beside a client. Okie dokie. All right. Let me move that so I could see your faces again. All right. Are there any questions about the 3 pillars of Reiki? The Gassho, Reiji-Ho, or Chiryo? Pretty clear, right? We kind of intuitively sometimes go into these positions, or we've learned them for other reasons too. I encourage you today, as you move through your days, to explore these 3 positions. I believe that a body in a posture or position, particularly one of that embodies peace or reverence, is a really powerful gesture. The ritual in and of itself has this kind of possibility or capacity inherent in it, in the very gesture itself, to transform the individual, taking time to do it, right? In my live classes, I'll say this often. It's like on a cellular level, if we take 1 second to just go, I care about you. I care about you. And we're speaking to ourselves. We're speaking to us. I say speaking to ourselves, all of us, that we care. I'm listening today. May I take this state into my day? That can go so much further than an hour-long bath or hour-long yoga class or whatever. Not that I'm putting those down. Those are tremendous and good if you have time to do them as well. But 1 minute of just listening or asking your heart what it needs, for me, can go much further still. Okay. I'm going to read you the 3 tenets of self-care that are in this book. It's on page 24. And it's very short. There's just 3 small sentences, and then we're going to go into our exercises for the day. All right, this is the chapter on self-care, intuitive self-care visualization. Okay, the 3 tenets that I live by. We cannot be present for others until we have learned to be present for ourselves. We cannot truly listen to others until we have learned how to deeply listen to ourselves. We cannot guide people towards their healing until we commit to healing ourselves. I want to kind of add to this. I wrote this book 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I think it was published in 2021, I think. I've changed since I wrote that, but I wanted to bring it up today because there is something in it that I want us to consider. I don't believe that I got to be perfect in order to help someone else or be with somebody else or listen to somebody else. That's not what I'm saying. But I have to be committed to really being with this and to continue to work, for want of a better word, with myself, to listen, to understand, to be present for, because the more I can be present here, the more I can listen, the more I can take the time, the more I can, the better I can be with others. So maybe that's a better way to say it. It's not that I cannot be present for someone else until I'm present with myself. People say that all the time about romantic love. I can't be with someone until I've learned to love myself. I don't believe that. We're in I believe we're evolving. We are these evolving beings. So we learn through interacting with others. So there's no state I'm going to arrive at for sure that's going to make me perfect for something or someone else. It's just not true, because there's no end to evolution or to unfoldment. So just to clarify, it is more about becoming each day more present for myself, more listening to myself, and more guiding myself in this journey towards love and self-care and understanding and compassion. And the more I do that, the more I'm going to better be able to do it for someone else. Okay? Okay. So we're going to begin with our self-care protocol. It's not really a protocol because we're going to lean into the intuition today, our intuition of where it needs to go. If you like a protocol, there's protocol, there's a protocol in this book. And actually, maybe I'll share in our group, find a way to share some of these pages. If you're somebody that likes to know, like, I want to do a protocol, I could send you that. I could show you that. But I really want for today and forever, I want you to drop into your inner knowing and to let your hands guide you where deeply know where they need to go. Okay. So we're going to place we could warm up our hands. You could do this. We're getting into colder weathers, so we could do this for many reasons. All right, and then we're just going to land our hands into Gassho. My thumbs are right at the level of my heart. And you're just going to sit there, have your feet on the floor, pressing gently down into the floor, sit bones aligned. Almost like you're resting in that pelvic bowl. Could even go side to side or to and fro, just to find where the center is. And I'm rocking to and fro. I'm noticing that my body is wanting to rock a little bit, but it's slowing down. So notice where you are. You know, maybe you want to do a little rock, 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 right? Maybe that's where your energy is today already. Maybe you want to loosen the neck. Notice what your body wants to do and honor it. And you could close your eyes or lower your gaze. And when you're ready, I just want you to look down into your hands, to your fingertips. And when you're ready, I want you to slowly raise your hands so that they're at an easy level to be seen, and you don't have to force your head down too much. I just want you to be looking at this space, this hollow between your two palms, right? I'm noticing I'm still rocking. Pay attention to what your body is doing right now, because there's no right way to do it. It's not about sitting up straight. That is not the move, right? It's about honoring where what your body's doing. In Alexander technique, they call this primary control, that relationship between the sacrum and the cranium, right? We are moving in and out of space. Our organs too, we want to have this movement, no stagnancy. And you might even find as you start to relax that you'll have a breath come in, a spontaneous breath, or an intuitive breath, an inspired breath. And when you're ready, I want you to imagine the energy that is between two hands. And if you have a hard time envisioning it, continue to bring it back to the two palms together and then slowly apart. Another way to begin to feel energy is to rotate it like this. And I want you just to feel the little bit of sparkly energy between the two palms. If I focus on this area here, for those of you who are reflexologists, we acknowledge this as a solar plexus reflexology area. Right, this is also where you would have that kidney point or bubbling spring in the feet, same area below that third digit underneath the third metacarpal head. And I'm just going to envision those 2 points dancing. So maybe they're closer together, they're further apart. And I'm going to pay attention to the rhythm that my body wants to do. For some reason, I'm almost feeling like it's very rhythmic. My relationship to my body today. It might be very small for you, right? Very within itself. Or it might be very big. Maybe you really are feeling the elasticity between the two hands. You can envision maybe even like threads between the two coming together and pulling apart. So exploring that. Could also do like waves. Sometimes this helps people to feel the energy more. This undulating gesture. And play with tempo as well. I know because I've been doing this for a while that this tempo is my tempo. This is the place where I really start to feel the energy. And now that I have it between my hands, we're going to move it around to different parts of your body. So I invite you again to close your eyes or lower your gaze, tap into your body, still sensing this energy between your hands, keeping that alive. And just check in with every part of your body. Where is there a call for attention? It doesn't even need to be pain or discomfort. Where do your hands want to be? So right away, I want to be on the back of my neck. So I'm going to place my hands there. And place your hands, or one hand or two, on the area of your body that is calling out for attention. And there's the inspired breath. And notice that within yourself. When does the breath come? I think of it like landing. I've landed. And know as you're placing hands on that there is this inherent, it is within all of us. Again, there is no studying we can do. We have the elixir within. It is within our own consciousness. It is within every cell of our being. There is energy in every cell of our being, right? ATP, if you know what that is, every cell of our being. We're utilizing it. We're gathering it. We're trusting and believing in it. And then we're placing it on the part of the body that just needs help, just wants a little bit more love today. My jaw right away goes, what about me? So go to that next area now. And it doesn't have to be that center area. My fingertips, every part of me emanates that energy and can be used. We're just using our palms and our fingers today. Another breath. And do one more area. You don't even have to think about it. Your hands will just go there, maybe. And the breath, right? So I'm noticing about myself how long it takes to be in a place where when the inspired breath comes in, right? It takes a little time. And now we're going to end with taking the palms of our hands, the base here, I'm going to place against my eyelids and I'm going to palm my eyes. You can cup your eyes if you just want darkness. I like to feel a little pressure. So my hands are on my desk. The base of my palms are on my eyelids. And we're going to be here for 1 minute. There's nothing to do, nowhere to go, nobody to be. We don't have to be anybody. We could just be here. All right, we could go ahead and let that go. I'm bringing my hands into Reiji-Ho. This is my way of kind of being gratitude to self and to others and to being alive. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that's the close of that more intuitive self-care guide or protocol. So again, you would begin for yourself when you try this later, begin in Gassho, eyes closed or lowered gaze. Begin to feel the energy. If you're having a difficult time, you can rub it together, but also what I love is acceptance. I'm a big fan of acceptance. If you are like, I feel nothing, there's nothing here. Great. First of all, there's no such thing as nothing. There is. It's almost like it's not important in a way to feel the heat, to feel the energy. The more important thing, the way is to accept what is. And in accepting what is, then we'll start to experience the changes that can come with accepting every second, every moment as it comes, right? Because the worst thing that could happen is like, I don't feel anything. Oh, I'm just not good at this. I know I'm not good at this. This is why I don't want to do Reiki. It's like all of those thoughts, we just let them all go. What do I feel? My hands are cold. The bird. I heard a bird. My heart wants to be more open. My hands want to be more together. It's like every second I have a choice to just listen to what is happening instead of judging or coming outside myself of what I'm doing wrong. Okay. Next, the second one is energy infusion. And this makes me think a little bit of what a couple of you said, but you had said at the very beginning, Sue. And that is, and actually some of you wrote it too, this idea of love and thinking of others. Maybe all of you said it actually, now that I'm thinking back. So I call this energy infusion. We take our hands into Gassho. That's where we often start. Imagine something that makes you happy, a person or a place, something or somebody that makes you smile, and hold it in your mind's eye. Next, you're going to place your hands in universal position or an adaptation of universal position. That means one palm is on your heart. The other palm is on your solar plexus. This solar plexus, people have a couple places that they put it. Mine is just below my, like this is my sternum, right? It's like at the very base, below my chest breast area. That's my second palm, and I'm going to hold it there. This is universal position. I'm going to take a nice breath, and I'm going to continue to sense my person or place that gives me so much joy, and I'm going to hold it in my heart, lightly, gently. And now letting that love, letting that energy fill the entirety of your body. Like you could envision it swirling or like a mist, just filling like a color like pink maybe. And that love, that joy is filling every part of your body, every cell, everything, to the tips of the toes, top of the head, every hair. And if you lose sight or forget what you're doing, just bring it back to that person or place that gives you so much joy. And now envision it almost emanating from you. So it's expanding. That love you have, that joy, that happiness is now going to almost like percolate. Is that the word I want? It's like it's going to emanate from your body and move into the spheres around your physical form and into the space itself that you're in. Noticing when those inspired breaths arise. And again, taking the hands, bringing it to Reiji-Ho and being in gratitude. Thank you. Or to your heart. And you let that go. And finally, we're going to end with one more little exercise. We're going to do it in short because I want to honor our hour time, our 1 hour time and our time. I want our 1 hour time. It's an exercise in the book. I call it open and close, and it's actually for developing one's clear senses. So before, some people are like, oh no, I'm not clairvoyant or clairsentient, or like, I can't see or hear things when I, get real quiet. And so this exercise is to help us get in touch with maybe what clair sense we are most inclined to or for. So it's called open and close. And all you're going to do is just begin to look around your room. You're just going to look. And now begin to sense as you're looking at the painting, the cat, the knee, the table, start to stay with it a little bit longer and sense where your mind goes. Are you looking at shape? Do thoughts come in? Memories, words, maybe a memory of a smell or a taste, especially if you're looking at the kitchen. And begin to just take in as much as you possibly can, as if it was the last time you were looking at everything. Again, noticing the inspired breaths that come in, or what some people call spontaneous breaths. Notice if you're getting sleepy or perking up. Now I want you to close your eyes and see what you remember. Do you remember the thoughts, the memories, the ideas, the sounds, the smells, the taste, the sight? What does your mind's eye go to when you're remembering what you just saw? And if you can't close your eyes, just lower your gaze. That's fine too. And when you're ready, you could open your eyes and just take a moment to jot down any words, any things you want to remember about your experience just now. Okay. I'm going to read you. There's something I refer to it as the anatomy of intuition. It is it's a little paragraph right here in the book. The anatomy of intuition. And I'm going to open it up, and I'd love to close today just by checking in and seeing how you're all doing. The anatomy of intuition occurs in 3 areas. This is your food for thought for the day. The anatomy of intuition occurs in 3 areas. The right hemisphere of the brain, controlling the left side of the body, engages all of the senses, expresses creativity, intuition, and emotion. The gut brain, also known as the second brain, enteric nervous system, and finally the hippocampus, or the hippocampi, bilateral hippocampi within the brain, responsible for learning, memory, and emotion. All right. I would love to open it up before we close today and just see how those exercises were for you. We had this self-care intuitive protocol that you did. How was it putting hands on? How was that energy infusion? Did you feel it? Were there things that were difficult? The open or close exercise? Any questions at all? Any insights? Any ideas? Are you all really sleepy like me? Oh, here we go. In the chat. Great. Now I'm more glasses. Glasses are so much more helpful. Great. Now I'm more, a couple are coming in. Very nice. Great. I'm more aware of what intuition is and liked that last part too. Very good. Yeah, intuition. Right. I didn't, right. Very good. I won't go into the story. Good, good, good. Can you post the book in the Facebook page? Of course, Barbara. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and yes, 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 yes. It just felt good to respect I love the word respect. Thank you, Sue. That's great. It felt good to respect myself, to give myself the time, relax. That is such a good word. I'm going to hold that into my day today. It felt good to respect myself. Yeah. Okay, good. And then lot of thinking to do. Food for thought today. Yay. Yeah. That idea of that there are these parts of our body that hold so much capacity, all parts of our body. Is there anything else, anyone else that wants to share before we move into our days and our nights? Thank you. Yes, thank you, thank you. Okay. I'm going to post this video today or tomorrow. I'll put it on the Facebook group that I think all of you are in, and I'll put it on YouTube as well. If you have any questions, let me know. Take these into your day, continue to explore them, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Mwah. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Bye.